Hey, okay, well, I know I said I was going to do a review of the Legion cut of The Exorcist 3, and while that is coming, I thought I would do a review of Sinister first, a film from 2012 from co-writer director Scott Derrickson. I bought it on Blu-ray recently. It's been on my mind since rewatching it, and it's yet another of my favorite movies in the genre, the horror genre. Derrickson is known for his dark and, in my mind, effectively creepy tone and cinematography, with Deliver Us from Evil being another excellent movie from him. He is also known for directing Doctor Strange and, more recently, The Black Phone, neither of which I've seen at this time, but I hope to give The Black Phone a look at some point. I'm not much of a fan of the Marvel franchise, so I'll probably not see Doctor Strange for a while. So, Sinister then is about a true crime writer, Alice Oswald, played by Ethan Hawke, the physical inspiration for whom may be Derrickson himself. He and his family move to a house where an unsolved murder has taken place, in hopes of investigating and writing about the case, in part to repair his reputation. A simple premise then, but of course it's never quite that simple in horror movies now, is it? After moving into the house, unusual and creepy events begin to occur. The scene where the son, Trevor, has an attack of night terrors is particularly memorable. Arguably the most significant of which is the discovery of a box of Super 8 films along with a projector, and it is these films and Alice's obsessive interest in them that are the real meat of the film. The Super 8 films themselves turn out to be a series of murders, including the hanging that took place at the house Alice and his family are now living in, suggesting that there could be a serial killer at work. Though I will get into it later, it is impossible really to discuss the Super 8 films, or indeed the movie as a whole for that matter, without talking about the sound design, specifically the music played during the Super 8 footage, which is very, very effective. The story that follows can be seen as formulaic in some ways. Tensions increase between Alice and his family as supernatural events increase, until the decision is made to leave the house. We have the light relief helper stereotype in the form of Sheriff's Deputy So-and-so, played brilliantly by James Ransone. We really buy him as a college-educated fan of Alice's work that just wants to help him out and get a credit in the acknowledgements of his book, with the sequel, Sinister 2, focusing on his character and his ongoing investigations into the fate of Alice's family. Alice's wife, Tracy, is played beautifully by Juliet Rylance, and the actors playing the children of the family do very well with the sometimes complex material they're given. There's also a charming cameo here from Vincent D'Onofrio as the professor who gives Alice the backstory to what may be happening, that basically an acolyte of an obscure pagan entity may well be responsible for the killings, the defining feature of which is that one member of the family, one of the children, is spared and abducted by the murderer. It's also worth noting that the sheriff is played memorably by Fred Dalton Thompson, who sadly passed away in 2015. I mentioned it briefly above, but what really sets this film apart for me is the sound. The music from the likes of Boards of Canada and Norwegian band Aghast is incredibly creepy and atmospheric, while the sound design of pretty much everything in the movie is top-notch, up to and including Derrickson's use of silence. There are jump scares here, as one might expect from a horror movie, but they never feel cheap. There are no false flags or stings, really. Everything has a purpose and adds to the film, rather than taking the audience out of it, in my opinion. Visually, the use of shadow makes the film feel very claustrophobic. No one is coming to help, no one can, and by the end of the film we realise that it's already too late for the characters to avoid their fate. I won't spoil the ending here. Suffice it to say that it's effective, and when watching the film a second time, completely logical. There are signposts from the beginning that what ends up happening is inevitable. While the film isn't perfect, of course, there are very few times that a wrong note is struck. I suppose if I'm getting nitpicky, I didn't particularly like the character of Trevor, who seemed a little obnoxious, but then I often don't like kids in movies, and I know I was obnoxious at that age, so fair enough. The saving grace of that character, though, is that he's played very believably. Another small flaw, I would say, is the look of the villain of the piece. He looks like a member of Slipknot, frankly. But again, the background of the character and how everything works in the world that the film has created is presented well enough that this is a small issue in the end. The decision to make the wife British may seem like stunt casting to some, but I think it adds to the story, frankly. Not only is all of this crazy stuff happening to her, but she's also a long way from home, trying to support the man she loves and has a family with. Some may find the idea of a writer, even an extremely ambitious one, staying in a house like this, putting his family at risk, far-fetched. But it feels more believable here than it might. He wants one last shot at celebrity, and when one feels sure of their course and entitled enough, there are a few things we are not capable of as a species to realise our goals. In conclusion, then, if you like creepy, atmospheric, intelligent horror movies that take their time, you will probably enjoy this. A word on the UK Blu-ray release, the extras are pretty good. There are 2 commentaries from the director and the writers, as well as vignettes about the world of true crime writing and the Villisca axe murder house, and events that have happened there over the years, which I had heard of before but knew very little about, so that was pretty cool. But in my mind, very well worth a watch and a decent buy for the money I paid. It was less than a tenner, I think. However, as always, and with all of the above being said, I hope you enjoyed this review of Sinister. Please like, share, comment and subscribe if you think I've earned it, and I will speak to you soon. Thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.